Hello, hello. Hope you are well. Waiting for Sara Schulting Kranz to come on here. We are going to talk about her new book. I'm just putting a little comment in here. We're going to talk about her new book. Walk through this. Let's see. She's coming on. Hope you guys are doing well today, wherever you are in the world. There she is. All right. Come in. Turn the music down.
Hello.
How are you?
I am great.
You just came in from a run, I think.
How did you know that? You saw my stories?
I'm here with us, but she's not with us. So I saw it on your story.
Yeah. No, you know what? So I'm going to tell you something. I am on a 10-day healing path journey that I'm doing with somebody else. And collectively, we're kind of like on the same. And my body was being called to move before this. And so I went out for a quick run and I was like,
Good.
The way it is. It's self-care.
Yep.
And
Listen
I think
to that body, right?
We have to listen to that. And so I did.
Yep. Leah and I, so good. Leah and I were talking about this last night. She was on with me and we were talking about cyclicality and the circadian rhythm. And, you know, she's very much tuned into the sunlight in the morning. And I didn't know that not only do we need the sunlight on our retina in the morning, we also need to, well, optimally, use that in conjunction with movement. So if we can do some sort of movement right when we wake up, it helps so much set our melatonin for the night.
Yes.
So
1000%.
Anyway.
Yep. So that's what I was
I'm
doing.
so happy you're here.
I'm so happy to be on. Thank you.
And I'm happy you're taking care of yourself because you have a lot of amazing things going on right now.
Yes, I do. I've got a lot of stuff happening at once, which is great. It's great.
It's amazing. I had this great idea that I didn't follow through with, which was that I was going to do this outside in nature. But I'm not in California. I'm in New Hampshire, you know, and it's like 25 or 28 degrees and it's absolutely frigid out. So I put my stone fireplace behind me because I want to talk about something regarding nature to start this off.
Let's do it.
That I think what I would love for you to do in our discussion about your amazing book, Walk Through This, which is about forgiveness and nature, finding ourselves, is connecting it to the people who are thinking, wow, I don't have a relationship to nature.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. And I think that's so important because there's a large population of people who they think they don't like nature or they don't have a relationship with nature. And that's not the only piece of this book isn't nature, but I think it's really important to show people how they can actually call that into themselves. And the reason why I was talking about this stone behind me is this is a part of the interior of my home, right? It doesn't feel like that's outdoor nature. But if you look at the body of the stone, it's still nature. There's pores and parts of it and texture and layers and different colors, and which is exactly what we are as human beings.
Yep.
And we all have pieces of nature, even the air. Like I was thinking about this morning. We have the air.
Bring this up. Thank you. You're totally going into what I was just going to bring up.
Okay.
Yep.
You know, we're touching it. Like you can feel it. If you really settle in, you can feel the air on your hands. Anyway, do you want to talk about that a little bit? So,
you know, I'm doing this intentional healing journey this week, right? And so that's part of the reason I also went on this run is because I'm really diving into what pieces of this do I want to bring into the group, right? And where they're at right now that they need. And the interesting thing about this is that people seem to think, and my oldest son included, my oldest son loves the city, right? And he's like, I don't need nature. I'm like, buddy, you're living in nature, regardless. Like, regardless.
You are nature.
The sun that is rising while you're sitting in your, 65th floor at the, in your bed, watching it come up, and you're taking pictures of it and sending it to me, my friend, that is nature. As it's setting, that is nature. Yeah. Nothing in this world, nothing will reproduce, live, will be able to survive without our natural surroundings. Yeah. Now, when we can step out of our space, out of our head, and allow ourselves to drop into our heart, when people are talking about the connection of, I don't really feel connected to it. That's your head speaking, right? And so when we can drop into our heart, which is also why I love my book so much and talk about forgiveness, because forgiveness also comes from that space, and you can deeply love and forgive and be a part of nature and our own healing journey. When we can actually drop into this space, that's actually when we can fully connect with what's around us. Mm-hmm. When we can slow down and take the pause and be able to look at that rock behind you and think about and feel with and be with the fact that that didn't just get there. That people didn't create that. Mm-hmm. Actually, the world, the actual natural world created that rock, which then was produced into what is your home. Yeah. And so we overcomplicate everything too, by the way. Like, we overcomplicate love. We overcomplicate healing. We overcomplicate forgiveness. We overcomplicate how to make our dang food. Like, we overcomplicate everything.
Which, Sarah, I think is such a beautiful segue, not away from the nature piece that I started with, but to say your book did such a good job of simplifying everything.
Yeah. Thank you.
In such a beautiful way where it didn't feel, you didn't leave out the juiciness of the depth of really what the emotional turmoil that trauma brings, the PTSD, the layers of it. You went deep, but you did it in a way that feels simple and approachable for people to get what they need out of the book. And also, I've read it twice, and I think you're probably finding this. I'm in your book club, and for anyone who watches this, if you haven't joined the book club yet, it's a wonderful way to go through reading the book with other people's perspectives and sort of learning from one another and how other people are receiving it. But I think what's so amazing too about the book is every time one reads it, it's not a one-time read. Every time we read it, we're going to be at a different level, a different season of our life, and we're going to pick up different pieces of it.
You're going to love how I'm starting tonight, because this is exactly how I'm starting it. Because there's so many people, like, just to back it up really quick, my journey from healing has been so deep. I was just on it, and I do this work all the time. That's why I just went out for a run, because I do my own healing every single day. It's a choice that I make. It's a practice. It's a way of life, because I was in major complex PTSD just 7 years ago that brought up all my PTSD from when I was 17, and now I'm 47. Mm-hmm. And so, understanding that this is something that we need to continue to step down. We need to continue to step on this journey every single day and look at the things. And it's interesting, because I think for so many people, they actually forget, like, oh my gosh, okay, well, when I get to that place, then I'm good. When I get to that place, then I'll be okay. Well, even on your healing journey, wherever you're at right now, you can find moments of happiness and gratitude, because you're never going to get to that place.
There is no there. Right?
There is no there.
Yeah.
So
Shocker.
All that there is a continuation of there, which is why when I'm standing in nature, this is the other reason why I love taking people on retreats and I love doing the deep work. You can only go so deep like this, but then when you get out into nature and you actually do the work out there, your level of understanding that the healing is so beyond comprehension, that the path to your life is so beyond comprehension, and what is possible is so beyond comprehension. That's the beautiful, magical, juicy part of living, right? Because you're completely opening yourself up to it.
It really is. It really is. And, you know, one of the words that I wrote down, because I wrote down so much stuff, and then I was like, okay, I'm doing a podcast. You know, I'm launching my podcast. I'm manifesting it. It's happening in the new year. And there's a podcast interview in my future with you. But so I was writing all these things down, and one of the words was intention, because you define it for us in the book, and you wrote, it's a statement that supports who we want to be and how we choose to show up in our lives, which is totally different than a goal.
Yes, totally different.
Right? So specifically, you taking care of yourself and setting the intention, which is what every single person who is in this community that I speak to needs to do more of, is setting an intention that puts them first and doesn't make them feel like they're being selfish in doing that. Right?
Okay. I was on a trail for 22 days. I have 3 kids, 29, 19, and 14. And I literally went on the trail August, September for 22 days. And I tell my kids, look, this is what mom needs, because without mom also taking care of mom, mom cannot take care of you. Yeah. I cannot do all of the things that I want to be doing in this world. I just can't.
And it doesn't make you less of a mom. It makes you a better mom. It makes you're showing them
absolutely
that it's so important to take care of yourself. And we don't grow up, and unfortunately in our society, it's rare. It's more rare to have mothers who feel so grounded in their worth and their knowing. Unfortunately, when they're in the throes of motherhood, somehow, you know, once we get to the other side, we start having that awareness of like, whoa, wait, what did I just do? You know, I work with so many clients, and myself too, we've lost ourselves to motherhood when it doesn't need to be like that. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating to me, because I have found, here's the other thing. When you've been in a relationship, now me having experienced relational betrayal trauma, when you've lived in a relationship where there was a lot of gaslighting going on, there was a lot of manipulation going on, there was a lot of it must be my fault, right? Because of the stories that I was then told. When you are also trained, quite frankly, like I had trained myself to be the second person, because of the way that my relationship had also been created. And so I have now completely rewired my brain, my thoughts, your thoughts become your actions become your way of life. And so I have rewired and retrained myself to put myself first. Yeah. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. There are certain hours of the day where I'm like, this is my space. This is my time. And you guys, by the way, my boys, being a single mom, like, you can take care of yourself.
Okay, there you are. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. You said boys, there are times in the day.
There are times in the day where they need to be able to take care of themselves, where and quite frankly, you're teaching them how to also treat you. Yes. And you are teaching them how to treat themselves. Totally.
Totally. Which brings me to, and I really hope I'm not jumping around. And also for anyone, I'm not diving into Sarah's past here, because you have to go read the book.
It's all in the intro.
Okay. But I wanted to talk that segues into boundaries. Okay. Yeah. So boundary setting and coming to a point where you say enough is enough, right?
Yes.
Unfortunately, so many of us have to go through a big T, some little T's, whatever it may be, where we come to a point where we are down on our knees and we say enough is enough. I've had mine, you've had yours. But we don't have to get to that point. And my mission in my work with the younger generations, with my younger girls, is that they don't have to get down to their knees. We need to be proactive, just like using food as medicine in preventative medicine. We need to start using the mind as preventatives to allowing our girls to grow up to be women who have boundaries, who will check out and say, I have to go do this because I have to take care of myself. Right? You talk about step 3 of setting boundaries. And you said the statement, my self-worth is honored when. And that just really speaks to me, because we don't say that to ourselves on a daily basis. My self-worth is honored when. That word honored is so important because we are not honoring ourselves on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And the forgiveness piece, you know, forgiveness is this capital F word, and we feel like it has to be a massive thing that we have to be forgiving, whether it's about ourselves or about somebody else. But there's little things that we need to sometimes just forgive ourselves and have compassion for ourselves in order to honor how we have ourselves. Does that make sense? You know,
Yes,
like
1,000%. Can I back up? Can I
yeah.
go? Okay. So, you know, I used to be a teacher, and
Yeah.
so I'm all about kids. Like my former students from 20 something years ago have followed me. Like that's how funny all of this is.
Awesome.
And I was an art teacher actually. And I always say your life is art. Your life is in creation. You never throw out what you were working on. You continue working with what you wanted to throw out, quite frankly, right? And it's like a ball of clay. And with that, what's really fascinating to me about kids today, my own sons included, is that we are so connected to this that we lose connection with the complete alignment of self. And that is also why it's so important for us to get our kids to go outside, to be able to be connected with something more deeply than the phones and the text messages. When we can do that, we can also connect with our worthiness. Right. And our worthiness. And here's the other offshoot of this as well. We can honor the situations in our life that also can allow us to deeply feel more connected with ourselves, with our worthiness. Because quite frankly, I mean, my worthiness, even at 17, was shot. My worthiness was so bad. It was so low, which also then contributed to me getting into the relationship, which I did. However, here's what shifted it. What shifted it was me looking at all the things that I was not connecting, that I did not want to connect my worthiness to, right? If it is the physical, the home, all the things, I wanted to start connecting my worthiness to the core of who I am, my own love, my own, the fact that I will save somebody that's, fallen in the root. And I literally have, like, I've saved people. Right. And so like,
right.
that's my gift.
And
so
that's your values work too, right?
That's my values work, which is why I also talk so deeply about values, because that is where we can also connect our worthiness to ourself and not to all the things around us. When we do that, we can also then step into forgiveness. You have to know your own worth in order to set the boundary, right? The boundary will also deepen the worthiness, which then when you can do that, you can step into the forgiveness. You cannot mindset forgiveness, and you can't jump from step 1 to step 7 without doing all the work in between. It doesn't work.
Yeah. And exactly, Sarah. And the thing with nature is it gives us this beautiful vessel to step out. Like, I just know for myself, I walk the trails here every single day. I love nature. There are parts of the mountains that really connect to me, and parts of the ocean. And there's deep healing that I've personally had when I'm out there. And there's this expansiveness that's out there, but yet there's this like this comforting blanketing feeling that happens when you're out in nature. And I think that's where we have that vessel to actually connect into what are our values, because we're in just such a peaceful, again, talking about the kids who aren't out and having that connection, having that downtime to really process what's important to them, what's important to us. And when you're out in nature, you really open yourself up to that opportunity to reconnect to what's most important to you, which comes down to your values, right? For people who aren't familiar, everyone has values.
Yes.
But for people who aren't familiar too much with values, what would be your recommendation of a step? I know you talk about it in this book, but sort of the first steps to diving into one's personal values and discovering that.
So here's the thing this is how I did it, and how I still continue to do it. Like, you can look at the most important, what's the word I'm looking for? The most beautiful moment of your day and you can also look at the most difficult moment of your day, right? And when you're having that most beautiful, amazing moment in your day, like for me last night, it was when I was with my boys, just watching my boys as we were looking around, walking around, getting a Christmas tree, and how they interact with one another and how they're so different from one another. I mean, right there in that moment, in one moment, one split second, you can come down with so many values. And for me, it's family, love, intimacy, it's creativity, the fact that they are all three so different. There, you know, I could list so many of them. And intimacy and connection and community, the little community that the four of us have created. It's so important for us to pull a moment from every day and just literally sit there with it and say, okay, what made this so great? But then also in our difficult moments, we can find our values. So for example, when I found out about my husband betraying me, it was when I had that moment of, oh my gosh, I value trust and truth and honesty so deeply. Like that is one of the core of the core of the core, which is why truth is the number one word, first word that I used in my book. Truth, inspiration, and hope. And when I realized in that moment that I was in so much pain because my own truth, the truth of who I am and the truth of who he was and the truth of our family and the truth of our life together was literally devastated. It was just walked all over by his lies and deceit. I was like, whoa, okay, that right there, my pain, me, that I will never not stand in my truth. And I will always, always, always create a path and a journey and a trail for others to do the same because it just hurts so deeply. I mean, I was wounded. And so just that feeling, that intense feeling gave me that opportunity to look at it and say, okay, this is why, because I honor my truth so much.
Yep. Absolutely. 100. Just, you know, it's amazing with you when one like you goes through a big T trauma and you're able to come out on the other side with something that you can look at as a gift through the pain, through all of the emotional, the nightmare basically that you had to go through emotionally, and come through and be able to see something as having happened for you. Not that you want it to happen, but looking and taking the opportunity to do the healing, which brings up the word of forgiveness, because somewhere in that transformation from victim mode to being empowered again is this very key word in this book, forgiveness. And you know, the definition of forgiveness is not what you would love it to be in the dictionary.
It's not.
But the definition that it should be is...
Oh, you know what? I don't even have my book in front of me. Go for it. I've been running, girl.
So basically, it's not right. It's not the specific. It's not what forgiveness in the Merriam-Webster dictionary is saying.
What? Actually, I love the fact that you're saying it because I've never heard somebody else say it.
I don't have it in front of me either, but it's not about. Yeah, no, it's not about saying. It's not about saying it's okay what happened to you.
No, it's about honoring that what happened.
Yes. So
the definition in the dictionary right now, it's to forgive means to forget. Like that's the that's the basis of it. The way that I want to change it is to not condone or pardon the actions that have hurt you, right? But to accept literally and to honor what has happened and hand back the pain in the process. When we allow ourselves to hand back the pain while still honoring what we have been through, we are also understanding and learning from it, which again, being the teacher, every single moment in our life, we can find something to learn from it. Like we can learn in every moment. And so in every experience, right? I don't care if it's something like what I've lived through, or if it is the passing of somebody that we have loved so deeply, or if it is, you know, watching our children and really having a difficult time with their pain. We can always, always, always learn through everything.
Yeah. And even forgiveness of ourselves, you know, like I have a lot of mothers who are in my community, and the forgiveness that we need to give to ourselves in moments when we feel like we didn't do it right. and being able to, we're not saying it's okay that we did it wrong, quote unquote, but we're forgiving ourselves for not doing it the way that we now can up level and understand how to do it differently
Right.
next time. Yeah.
Right. Forgiveness of self is huge. That's why when I wrote the book, I started with forgiveness for self, forgiveness for others, forgiveness for the world.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. And, you know, like in the book, you do a lot of meditation, Sara, which I love so much. And one of them that just my heart chakra, loves your self-love heart chakra prayer that you do.
Yeah.
Do you offer, so you're doing the 7-day intentional healing.
Yeah.
Will you be doing meditations in that?
We will be doing some meditations. This is actually, this 7-day intentional healing journey is funneling into a year-long program that I'm starting.
Okay.
And I'll talk about that tonight. I created this program because it was everything that I really wanted and could have used during my own healing journey. And it brings in all of the, well, and then some, all the professionals and then some that have actually helped me on my healing journey. And so it's a real big deep dive. The meditations, I will be doing some meditations, absolutely, this week. And
they're so beautiful.
I love the meditations. I love them.
Yeah.
And I'll be, you know, doing more of that too in next year when we're starting our 12-month program. And we do meditating when we're in the canyon. It's so important to take our meditations outside. Meditating in itself opens your heart. Meditating in nature, when you're connecting with something and in alignment with something so much bigger than ourselves, it's huge. It's just, then it's like,
and movement, right? Like,
and movement. Yes.
Yeah.
I meditate. People take, even with meditation, in my own way of meditating, people think that meditating means you have to absolutely sit still. So I do sit still and meditate. I do it in the morning. And I do it when I'm on my board and when I'm on the Pacific Ocean, and I do it when I'm on the trail. I also do walking meditations. Yeah. Right. And so that is a thing. When I am on my paddle board and I'm paddling, I literally meditate while I'm paddling. Sometimes I have to remind myself because all of a sudden I'll be so far offshore and I'm like, ooh, I got to flip around because I get so into like so one with nature. And so I think, you know, people seem to think there's always a right and a wrong way. There is no right and wrong way to doing anything, including meditating, including our healing, including we have to stop that. Yeah. Like we have to stop that judgment piece of, well, I need to do it this way. No, you don't. If it's not working for you, choose something else. Yeah. No, period.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, even if you're seated at your desk and you're in the middle of the busiest workday, you can shut your eyes and just be present with your breath, and don't fight yourself on the words that are coming in, the thoughts that are coming in. Just focus on the breath, allow the thoughts to come, release them if they're not serving you. It's the nervous system. You know, you talk a lot about the nervous system, and that's the thing, is we have to be more supportive of our nervous system, and it all starts up here. Gosh, there's so many things I want to talk to you about, Sara. Let me just look at my thing for one more second. I know you have so much going on. Okay. So just let's circle back to really quickly this book, because I just feel like it's so accessible for so many different people. And for the person that I was talking about in the beginning who doesn't feel the connection to nature, how would you recommend that they get this book and help and step into nature in some way while using this on their journey?
Yep. So I always tell people, go outside. If you can just lean up against a tree. That's it. Literally lean up against a tree. Feel the tree. So there's a really good meditation that I used in step 1 and also in step 7. And it's about literally like grounding yourself and opening your senses to nature. When you can, and again, don't judge yourself when you're doing this, but literally just plopping your butt onto the ground and allowing yourself to lean up against a tree, like I said, or lie on the grass, look up at the sky, watch the leaf fall from the tree. Yeah. Just okay. So something else that's very interesting. I started this book with a child within you. I had no idea why I was doing that. I always like write like from source. Like I don't even, it's not me. It comes through me. Right. And when I was writing that step, I remember thinking, why am I starting with the child within you? This is like really weird. And I didn't even realize until later on that the reason I started with the child within you is because the child within you is also the explorer. The child within you is that little person within you that witnesses things like you don't witness as an adult. Yeah. Because you allow yourself to simply be, and you're not thinking about all the other things that we have to get done. So if you can find that child within you and simply be present in nature. When is the last time you rolled down a hill? Remember doing that? Remember doing that and feeling so free?
Yeah.
Or twirling around outside with your arms wide open and just being present.
Totally.
It's totally. People look at me and they're like, you're just so happy. Yeah, because I'm allowing myself to also explore and to adventure life. Yeah. I'm not putting it into a box. Yeah. I have no idea what's going to happen down the road. And I don't quite frankly want to know, because what's the magic in that?
Yeah, totally. And even looking at the sky, like we don't have to physically, of course, it's better to be tangible, to touch the tree, to feel the earth, to smell the smells. You can look out your window and look up at the magnificence of the clouds. Remember when we were little and we could sit there for hours looking at the new creations the clouds make, and awareness, right?
Just awareness.
And this morning I was thinking about little kids actually and nature, and thinking about, talking to you. And I was thinking about how, when you blow into a little baby's face, you blow into their face and they go, and they literally are like, it's scary, but it's awesome. It's like this cold feeling on their face. And I honestly think it's like the whatever, this wrap of this air around their face, and they love it. And it's nature. So, and Anna's here, by the way, Sarah.
I know, I saw it. Hi, Anna. Oh, it's so nice to see you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so great to see you. I'm going to just state this. This is really funny because I had somebody, so on, I think it was Saturday night. I took, we had a inner circle meeting. I was in that mastermind call all day. And I took my board, I went onto the ocean and watched the sunset. And I decided at the very last second to grab my headlamp because I thought, maybe I'll just go out further than I thought I would, which is exactly what happened.
Not you, Sarah.
Because, I have never done this alone. I've only been out on the ocean one other time in the dark with another friend. And so I was pretty far off, and I was paddling in the dark with my headlamp on, and it was awesome. Oh my gosh, there were dolphins flipping all around me. There were just keep talking. There we go. Okay. I'm like, did I freeze or did you freeze? I'm like, should I just keep talking? I don't know what to do.
Dolphins.
So yeah, the dolphins all over. And I put this in my Instagram stories and my Facebook stories. The next day I got messages from people, and they were like, that's so unsafe. What if something happens? What if you get lost? What if, like, all the what ifs? And I had to say to them, and instantaneously, my thought was, the ocean doesn't change whether it's the dark or the night, or sorry, the dark or during the day, right? If it's light out or if it's dark out, the ocean does not change. Everything in there is still in there. It's not like you're going to pull things out and put them during the day and put new things in at night, right? It activates differently, but it's still the same.
Sarah.
And the same is for our life.
Sarah, literally, what? I was just not going to bring this up because I know you have probably 5 million places to be, but I have to tell you, the other day out for my walk, and I was thinking about how, and don't say anything if you think it's predictable or unpredictable. I'll tell you the story.
Okay.
And I was walking along and thinking about how nature is the most, to me, the most predictable thing we have in our world. To me, that was true. Without a doubt, most predictable thing we have. Nature will always be as it's going to be. The next day, Tim, my husband, and my daughter were on a walk, and Tim and Alexis are watching the water in the stream come gushing down. And Tim said, "Isn't it amazing that we're all going on with our life, and this water is literally here gushing through all day long while we just all do our things?" I said, "Tim, that's so interesting. I was literally yesterday thinking about how nature is the most predictable thing in life." And he said, "Oh, I think of it totally opposite. I think that it's the most unpredictable." And so we each own it differently. He sees it because he talks about tornadoes and hurricanes. And but the thing is, even with tornadoes and hurricanes and Mother Nature and the natural catastrophes that we have, the wind levels only get to a certain amount. And after they do, we always know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It is predictable. We know what to expect. It's not, we don't know when all the time, but that's the same thing with our emotions. To tie it back to what we were just talking about, just, we're the same. We don't know when our emotions are going to come. Yeah, they're not right or wrong, just like the tornadoes and the hurricanes aren't right or wrong. They are going to come out, exert their energy for a purpose, and fall apart and come back. That's the same with emotions. We have to not be scared of them.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm scared of going on a paddleboard with my feet in the ocean, but we're not going to get to that.
Especially at night.
Right? The emotions are just the same. They're predictable because they are going to happen. We can't block them out, just like we can't stop nature from happening. Anyway, I wanted to.
So our experiences, like we're always going to have difficult experiences. We're going to have traumas happen to us. Yeah. It's just good luck. Like, I don't know what to say to you. It's going to happen. Just like California is going to end up getting another earthquake one of these days, right? Like, we know it. I lived through a tornado. It wiped out half my town. Those things are predictable. They're going to happen, right? And so it's literally about how are we going to respond to that, and what are we going to learn from it, quite frankly.
Yeah, and the peaks are always there. The peaks are always there to climb. Nothing is too high. Nothing is out of our, realm of possibility.
Exactly.
And it's just a matter of putting your foot out there. So anyway, I'm going to let you go because you have a lot going on today. But here's the book again.
Thanks, you guys. I'm so excited for being
Live Boldly is your podcast.
Live Boldly.
If you want to dive in. 7-day intentional healing is going on right now. It starts tonight.
Starts tonight.
And all the other amazing things.
Yep. Look in my website, sarahschultingkranz.com. Everything is there.
Awesome.
Our retreat sold out for December and January, so I'm really excited about that too. And so we are going to open the card again for starting April, probably in about 30 days.
April, and then you have a summer one, right?
Yeah, April, June. What do we have? April, June, and October.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Head on over if you want to go on those peaks with Sarah.
So fun. Oh, Brittany was here. Hi, Britt.
It's
nice to see you, honey. She's
doing
amazing.
her chill yoga.
She's amazing. I love
chill
Brittany.
yoga. We all need a little
beautifully chill. Awakening. She's incredible.
Yeah. All right, Brittany.
All right, honey.
Bye,
I'll talk
Sarah.
to you later. Bye, honey. I love you. Bye-bye.